Hey everybody, today I want to talk about daddy issues. I feel like this term is thrown around a lot. Many people have created sometimes very funny memes about it. And when someone dates an older male, people claim that they're doing it because they have quote unquote daddy issues. Or if someone enjoys casual sex, they give the same reasoning. But what does it mean to have daddy issues? Is it even a real thing? And how can we overcome them if we're struggling? Now, first, I think it's important to know that daddy issues is not a diagnosable mental illness, and it's not even a term that was ever used in any of my psychology classes or continuing education courses. The reason for this is because any quote-unquote issues that we may have with our caregivers, and when I say caregivers, it's like our mother, our father, or even our aunt, grandparent, even nanny for a lot of people. All of those issues we can have with those people is boiled down to attachment. So instead of calling these struggles daddy issues, we should really call them attachment issues because that's what they truly are. And not to mention that when people use the term daddy issues, it's usually done as a way to minimize or simplify someone's past pain or upset. So truthfully, I'm not the biggest fan of the term. Now, to briefly explain attachment, although I have an entire video about it that I will link in the description if you want to learn more. But for the sake of this video, just know that there are 4 attachment styles: secure attachment, insecure avoidant, insecure ambivalent, and disorganized. And if we had a caregiver that came when we cried and supported us emotionally as we needed, we would grow up to have a secure attachment. And while we can have experiences in our life that will affect how we interact with other people, for the most part, we will have healthy attachment to others. If we had a caregiver that maybe wasn't there for us at all, or was sometimes but not consistently there, or they were abusive, if any of that is going on, we can have one of the other 3 styles, which makes it hard for us to have healthy relationships as we grow up. Because frankly, we don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, or if we can trust other people to be there for us, or how to feel safe and okay on our own or with others, because some of it we can swing from either preferring to be alone or preferring to be with others, depending on how we reacted to our parents' lack of proper parenting. Unfortunately, when it comes to attachment and parental research, a lot of it tends to focus on our mothers and their role in our development. And of course, it's important, but fathers play an important role as well. When we were children, they teach us a lot about boundaries. By being more of the risk takers or rougher when it comes to play, they show us what we can and cannot do, or what we are okay and not okay with. They help us understand risk, fear, and hopefully remind us that they're there to catch us or pick us up if we fall down. Fathers also represent the role of a male adult member of a family. And this can affect us no matter what gender we are. If we identify as male, our father can show us how males are supposed to act in certain situations, like at work, or if we're around a bunch of other guys, or how we interact in female relationships or romantic relationships, just to name a few. And we can, often without realizing it, mimic their behavior and find ourselves acting just like they did. Our relationship with our fathers also plays a huge role in our self-esteem and confidence, because mothers tend to be, but not always, the more nurturing, consistent, and home-sustaining caregiver. And we can take that for granted. They tend to be around more and give more support and positive reinforcement, just like more easily than fathers can sometimes. Fathers also tend to be away from home more often. And I know, a lot of this sounds super traditional, and not everyone's family is like this, but for many of us, it still rings true. So try to hear me out. This is what the research supports, and maybe it needs to be updated, but this is what we've got so far. Anyways, because fathers are away from home more, when they are around, we can seek their approval most. Many children can grow up believing that if they please their father, then he'll stay around more often, or that his approval means more than maybe mom's because he doesn't give it as freely. And our relationship with our fathers can also affect our sexuality, which I know, even just saying that, it's kind of cringy, a little bit creepy, but any way you look at it, it's there. If we are female, our relationship with our father is our first male-female relationship. We get to navigate that. see how it works, learn how men are and maybe how they differ from us, maybe in the things they like or the ways that they communicate. This can affect how we interact with other males in our life going forward, because our father is like the blueprint from which we are drawing our new life plans. If we are male, it's the same. We can look to our father to see what male relationships are like, how men act, what they do, don't do, etc. Our fathers are our first example and experience of being around an adult male. And we can't help but pick up on things, especially when we're young. We assume that the way they act is how all men act, frankly, because we don't know any better, right? And this can obviously lead to a lot of issues. But I just think it's important to understand how our fathers affect us before we try to work to overcome any hang-ups that we might have as a result. Don't worry. Just because we think we may have daddy issues doesn't mean we have to live with them forever. We can overcome them. And my first step in doing that is to get to know yourself and your thoughts about men. We can't change what we don't understand. So start paying attention to people you like and don't like. Be curious about that and why that is. Start recognizing how you talk to yourself, especially when it comes to relationships with men. Maybe start journaling about what role you think men play in your life. What does it mean to be a man? Or are there certain things that you like and don't like that a lot of men do? Just start focusing a bit more on your past and present relationships with men and the thoughts or beliefs you have about that. It'll be really helpful and you might learn a lot. Which moves nicely into my second tip, which is to see if any patterns emerge from tip number 1. Sure, we can have that one relationship that didn't go well, or they ended up being an alcoholic and we broke up with them, or we stopped being friends with them. But what type of relationships do we continue to have with men? Do we have repeat friendships where we put in all the effort? Maybe it's a boyfriend who constantly puts us down, and it seems like 5 out of the 7 of our past relationships have been that way. Or possibly we keep being around men who aren't emotionally available to us, and we put all this energy into them without getting anything back. Dig into this and see what you find. In my personal therapy work, looking for relationship patterns, both good and bad, has been the most life-changing work I've done. It's helped me, honestly, get out of toxic friendships more quickly because I identify it like right away. Or I'll notice more quickly when I'm acting out of an unhealthy pattern. And overall, it's helped me be more happy in my relationships. Now, my third tip, get to know your father a bit more. I know, this may mean that we have to ask other family members about him if he's not alive or no longer around, or let's just say our relationship isn't the best. But digging into who they are or were, and even what their dad was like, because there could be some patterns between them and their father too, it can help us better understand where they're coming from, or possibly realize even more about why we were affected by them in the way that we were. Does that make sense? I hope so, because much of the work that we're going to have to do here is what I like to call emotional detective work. Because being curious and learning about our family history can often reveal more about us than we ever thought possible. My fourth tip is to re-father ourselves. I know you all hate terms like that, but if through our research we find that our father wasn't consistent with us or emotionally supportive in the way that we needed, well, is there then a way that we can offer that to ourselves now? Can we finally go to that museum he always promised to take us to, or teach ourselves how to finally ride a bike or fish or do any of the other things that we had always counted on him for? Yes, I know it sucks to have to give this to ourselves because our parents, were terrible at their jobs, but the good news is that we can do it, and it does help us heal. Honest. So spend some time figuring out what it was you needed from your father and didn't get. And then see if there's a way that you can give that to yourself. And finally, see a therapist. Therapists are great because they can help us see things that we aren't able to see ourselves. It's our job as therapists to find patterns and point them out so that you can see them too. My therapist has helped me see so many patterns in my life, good and bad, and I will forever be thankful to her for that because I'm not sure if I would have ever noticed them on my own. So look into seeing a therapist either online or in person, and possibly try to find an attachment-based therapist. That would be great. Or someone who does a lot of dialectical behavior therapy or DBT work. And even, honestly, as I think about it, even a trauma specialist could be able to help as well. Those are all some, good ways to find someone who will have the right training and tools to help you overcome these issues. And also know that you have every right to ask if your therapist works on attachment issues and what training they have around that. You're paying them to help you, and it's your right to make sure that they have the education needed to do so. I hope you found that helpful. Have you ever felt like you struggled with daddy issues? Is there more to it than what I talked about? What do you think I left out? Or what else has helped you as you've worked through these issues? Please let me know in those comments down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.